Have you ever wondered what it would be like to go away on a sewing retreat? Have you ever wondered if you'd love it or hate it, and what you might do to ensure that you have a great time? Well, wonder no more, because I've just got back from my first ever sewing retreat and I've got 5 tips to help you have a great time. So grab a cuppa, settle back, and let's dive in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So some very familiar faces there, I'm sure. 5 of us are vloggers, and I'll link everybody's channels down below. And I'm the last of the vloggers to bring out their reflections on the sewing retreat. So do go over and have a look at the others. And the other person who came with us was the lovely Mary, who is over on Instagram but not on YouTube. So I'll pop her Instagram details down below. And that brings me really to the first of my tips, which is to get to know the people you're going with as much as possible before you arrive, if at all possible. So we were very lucky in that the retreat was organised by Sam Sequin Gurley, Christine, the Gemini Stitcher, and Mary. And so we had a WhatsApp group, and we also got together for a chat on Zoom before we went. So we were talking about things like what we were each going to bring with us and about the shopping lists, because Mary kindly arranged for a Tesco delivery on the first day, so that we had food, and we had Gusto boxes sorted out by Sam, so that made catering a lot easier. So we were able to have a bit of a chat. I was lucky enough to have met everybody in person at least once by the time I went, but some people hadn't met at all. But because we'd met on screen, I think that helped. And there was some really funny conversations going on in the WhatsApp about the shopping list. At one point I was on the train home from work and started sniggering, and I think people probably wondered what was going on. But it did really help to break the ice, I think, that we did all know each other a little bit before we got there. So that's tip number one, to try to have some form of contact with people before you go. Tip number 2 is that you really cannot over plan and prepare for a sewing retreat. I think it's really important to spend a bit of time making sure that you've got absolutely everything you need. Obviously we were all sewists, and I know that at least one person forgot their seam ripper, and there was a lot of pass the seam ripper. Some people didn't have the right kind of needle, that kind of thing. But at least nobody did what I'd managed to do when I went on Sam Sequin Gurley Southern Social the week before, which was I'd managed to leave my foot pedal and power cable at home, realised halfway down the M4, and had to get my long-suffering husband to meet me about halfway back home. So yes, I was lucky, and if I'd done that at the sewing retreat, that would have been a real pain, because I would have obviously had to go home to get it. So check and double check that you've got all your equipment with you that you need. I think I did okay on that one. I don't think I forgot anything really major. One thing I would have liked to have taken with me if I'd thought about it was that I've got a light that sits on my sewing desk at home, which has actually got a magnifying glass in it. And so when you're trying to see to unpick, and I did a lot of unpicking, it would have really helped with little stitches, particularly on dark fabric. So yeah, that's one thing that I wish I'd taken with me and hadn't. But overall, I didn't forget anything major, thank goodness, at least not on the sewing tools front. And the other thing I think is to spend some time thinking carefully about what you're going to make. It's not that you have to have everything cut out. And in fact, we were very lucky because Julie had brought a table on which she had a cutting mat, so you could cut out on that. And Kate had brought this massive, I think it's, I want to say an A0 cutting mat. And that was absolutely great. She had it on the floor of one of the rooms in the cottage. And I'm seriously thinking I might invest in one actually, because I've got two biggish cutting mats, but this one together would be great because I'm always dropping down the crack in the table on my between my mats. So yeah, so that was really helpful. But I took a lot of projects with me, so I'd got choices about what to sew. Didn't have many cut out. I think I had 2 cut out, and actually just ended up trying to sew those. And I probably should have taken a breath for reasons I'll come to in a minute, and just cut something else out, because I don't think that I did the best sewing that I could have done while I was there. So yes, I think it's worth taking more projects than you think you're going to be able to do, simply so that you've got choices. So yes, tip number 2, lots of planning, lots of thinking about what you are going to make. Tip number 3 is not to fundamentally change the way that you sew simply because you are away and you are sewing with others. So inevitably there will be some changes to the way that you sew because you may be used to sewing somewhere fairly quiet, and obviously you've got people chatting around you, lots of laughter, lots of people talking quite seriously about sewing, sometimes about fit. Really interesting conversations, not always about sewing. So invariably there are a few distractions, which is lovely. But I'm talking about fundamentally following the same kinds of processes you would do at home. So for example, I don't sew very quickly, and others in the group do sew quite quickly. And I knew that already, from watching people's vlogs and also seeing people on sewing socials. And I'd already decided before I went that I wasn't going to try to speed up. We did have a haul, and I'll pop a pic in here, and we had some kind of pieces of, I think they're like adhesive flip chart paper that was stuck on the wall so we could write up our make. So when you finished a make, you'd honk the horn and write up what you'd done. And it was lovely, and I made 2 garments and honk the horn both times, and that's nice. You feel a sense of achievement. But other people made far more than I did, but that's fine. It wasn't a race, it was just a measure of achievement when you got something finished. So I'd already decided I was just going to go at my own pace, and I think that was the right thing to do. That said, even though I was sewing slowly, I think I left my sewing brain at home. I really do. And I was doing things that I absolutely would not do if I were at home. So I made 2 garments, and one of them is the Mila sweater by Tammy Handmade, and I'd got this really nice green kind of knit fabric. In fact, it was very like it had been knitted. It almost felt like you got stitches trying to come out down the side. And I tried to sew it with my overlocker, had a few stitches showing through because I was using multicoloured overlocker thread, and instead of just changing them out to green, I thought, oh, this is going to be too baggy, and it's going to show all the stitches through. So I ended up switching to try to sew it on my sewing machine with a zigzag stitch, and got I think the pressure on the pressure foot completely wrong. Didn't realise I've got a smaller sewing machine now also for sewing socials and sewing retreats, and the machine just kept eating my fabric, and the more I tried to sort it out, the worse I got. And I really should have just either said, no, I'm going to go back to the overlocker and have another go, and I did have some practice fabric with me, or I should have just said, look, I'm going to leave this and go on to something else. But did I? No. So yes, I finished the garment, but I don't think it's finished as nicely as it should be. It's fine, it's wearable. I'll show you it another time. I'll do a bit of a review of my makes on another vlog, but I wasn't really that happy with it. So then I finished that on the Sunday, and I start making the itch to stitch mountain view jeans. And I'd forgotten to put in some denim remnants, made it out of stretch denim, and I forgot for some reason to put in some of the remnants of the denim so that I could practice stitching before I actually started on the real thing. And I thought, oh, it'll be fine, it's only denim. And in terms of the construction, it was absolutely fine, didn't have a problem. But then the pattern says to do a bar tack. It's got a faux fly, and the pattern says do a couple of bar tacks. So I look up how to do a bar tack on my new machine, and it just went horribly wrong. And I'm doing it in top stitching thread, and on my main Janome machine at home, you just go, please do a bar tack, press the button, and it does it. And it adjusts all the tension and everything for you. But of course, on my smaller machine, it doesn't have that. You have to tell it what to do. So you have to be able to understand what is going wrong. But after it had eaten the fabric again, I kind of was just unpicking, and I ended up trying to do it like a zigzag stitch, and that looked awful, so I unpicked that. So I did finish the jeans. They're fine, they're wearable. I don't love them as a pattern anyway, and again I will do a review. But yes, I think my sewing brain just went completely out of the window, and I didn't stop and really think about what I was doing as I should have done. And I think that was just kind of being away. It wasn't that anybody put me off. It was just that somehow I wasn't taking the space to really think about what I should be doing. And that's one of the other things that I think in terms of saying, don't fundamentally change the way that you sew. Because at home, if I'm tired, I stop and I have a break. I'll go and make a cup of tea or stop for the night. But because I was enjoying myself and I was having fun with these other ladies, I didn't kind of think, no, I need to go and take 10 minutes. I need to walk away from this. And I think other people were better at it than I was. Some of them would go and sit outside with a cup of tea and just sit and watch the world go by. And I didn't do that. And I really, really should have done. And I think that might have just made me take that little step back that I needed to take from my makes. So yeah, tip number 3 would be, don't fundamentally change the way that you sew. And if you catch yourself moving away from that, then just take a step back and think, is this really what I want to do? And as I said earlier, what I should have done is probably just put those makes down and gone on to something else. But we'll see what Mary said about my makes later on in the vlog. So tip number 4 would be to make the most of the time that you have together, and also make the most of the area. So do things that aren't directly sitting and sewing. So sometimes in the evenings we would play some board games, and Sam had brought a board game with her called Patchwork, which I played a couple of times. I'll pop a pic in here of it. And it's really quite, I won't try and explain it now, A, because I've forgotten half the rules, and B, because we'd be here all night. But it was really fun, and it was very different. It was a bit like Tetris, I suppose. Kind of point scoring Tetris. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to do something different. And we also took some time out to go. On the Sunday we went and had a lovely late Sunday lunch at a pub which wasn't too far away. So I'll pop a pic in. You've probably seen it before. Sam took this picture of us all sitting in the restaurant at Sunday lunch, and that was really lovely. And I think we were all in Handmade, And yeah, we just had a lovely time kind of catching up, having a chat. It was only day 2, I think, of us all being together, and that was really fun. And then on the Tuesday, we all went out to Kidderminster, which was about 20 odd miles away. So I went with Kate, who kindly drove me, and then the others went with Sam. So we didn't all have to drive. And I just love this photograph that Julie took of some of us trying to work out the car parking machine, because it just reminds me of one of those photos on Crime Watch, you know, here are the suspects. I'll just pop that one in here. So it just made me laugh. So we had a wander around charity shops, and I bought a couple of books, no, 3 I think, novels. So I won't show you those because they're nothing to do with sewing, but I think you'll have seen Christine got some crafty things, and I think Julie did. And then we went off and had lunch in Kidderminster, so I'll pop a pic in here of us all having lunch. And then after lunch, we headed off to a fabric shop called Oh Sew Crafty, and which also had some things for other hobbies, I think, in there. But it has a massive haberdashery section, did have some knitting wool, and it had a ton of fabric. And I will do a separate vlog where I show you my makes in a little bit more detail, and also I will show you what I bought in the fabric shop. And also we had a swaps table in set up in the living room in the cottage, so I'll also show you what I got off the swaps table, because I got some fabric and also a couple of patterns, so I'll show you those later. But I really enjoyed going around Oh Sew Crafty, and I've had a little check, and it's only 17 miles from where I work in Birmingham, so maybe sometime when I've done a few extra hours in the week, I might drive back via Oh Sew Crafty. As I think Kate says in her vlog, it's on an industrial estate, so it takes a bit of finding, but it's also very easy to park when you get there, so that's nice. So we had a lovely time wandering around there, and then we all went back to the cottage and we carried on sewing. But I would definitely say make the most of the area. So I come to my 5th and final tip, which is basically to remember to have fun. And don't be too hard on yourself. If you feel that you, like me, I didn't really feel that I'd sewn particularly well. But I think I'm my own worst critic, and I think that's also true of a lot of sewists. You know, if you say to somebody, oh, I really like your top, they'll go, oh yeah, but there's a puck around the neckline, or yeah, but the hem's not very straight. And I really wasn't that fond of my makes at all. But if you've seen the other vloggers videos around the retreat, you'll know that Mary pretended to be Esme from the Sewing Bee, and after we'd all done our catwalk, which you saw at the beginning, she gave us all individual feedback on our makes, and this is what she said about mine.
And then we have Laura, who's wearing a charming ensemble. Is it top and bottom?
I made both here.
Yeah.
The only things I made here that I made.
Obviously, we've not finished the bottoms yet, because she's got to find the right shoes and get down there and sort it out. Lovely picot finish on the bottom and on the bottom of the arms. Perhaps the arms are a little bit low, but I think they're fine. Might do with a little bit long. I think that's really good. Oh, really good.
Don't mention the bar tax.
Don't mention the bar tax, no.
Exactly.
Stay away from the crotch.
They're no longer there. They are ex-bar
Oh,
tax.
yes, I see. A little bit of fabric tension.
There may be
yeah.
there may be some remedial sashiko when I get home.
Maybe a bigger bow needed.
A big bow.
Big
Yeah.
bow.
A good casual outfit
Thank you.
Good effort. Points to me.
So yeah, that's my final tip. Have fun and remember that you don't need to be too hard on yourself in terms of the standard of your mates. As long as you're happy when you're wearing them, that's all that really matters. And you know, it doesn't have to be perfect to be wearable, as we know, but we just tend to think it does. So yeah, that's tip number 5. Remember to have fun. So would I do it again? Yes, I absolutely would do it again. I think it was a really lovely week. We were very lucky. We had a fabulous cottage to stay in. We all had our own rooms, so we got some privacy when we needed it. And also, quite amusingly, the lady that was renting us the cottage also sewed, and she was absolutely fascinated. So she came in at one point and actually had a bit of a chat and was talking to Sam and Mary about possible sewing socials near her. So that was really nice. And she also baked us a fantastic cake, which we duly devoured. So it was really good fun, and I would absolutely do it again. So that's all from me for the moment. I hope that this vlog has come out on sound. I'm actually on a cruise at the moment. I am on a ship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So if I turn you round for a minute, that's my view. So I'm sitting facing the window, and so I hope that the sounds come out all right. I have got my microphones with me, but for some reason they're not playing very well. And I've got you on a table propped up by a pile of swimming pool towels. They are dry and they are clean, but I don't have my tripod with me, so it's all a bit makeshift. Thank you to all my lovely new subscribers who have joined, having seen my So Frugal 2025 vlog, which was all about free patterns to sew for a cruise holiday. I have said I will go back to this theme and I'll do another vlog based around what I'm seeing people wear around the ship and trying to find some patterns to match it. Someone said in the comments they'd find that helpful, and it seems like a nice idea to do for a vlog, so I will do that when I've seen the next formal night on the ship. So I'm sorry if I appear to be bobbing around a bit. I am, but hopefully the camera on the tablet is bobbing at the same rate, so fingers crossed it's not too wobbly. And yes, and then I'll come back and I will show you when I get home. I will show you my makes from the retreat and my So Frugal make, and I'll also show you the fabric that I got while I was away. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this vlog, and if you haven't already had a chance to subscribe and you'd like to do so, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button down below. I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.
Okay.